Welcome back to Synth Secrets. Today we're going to take this sound and we're going to make it into this. It's a classic synth effect and it's been used in so many different genres and it's been sampled to infinity. But why spend on a sample pack when it's straightforward enough to make it from scratch, plus you have better control over it. You can make it work better with your track. We actually recently reheard it on Phil Greenwood's Fresh House cut, I Love It. We left a link below to that tune, and it's during the second breakdown towards the end of the song. But there's no doubt that if you're watching this, you've been familiar with this sound already, as it's heard on countless records across countless genres. So all you need to do is program one note over 4 bars and set your tempo to 126 BPM if you wish to recreate what we're doing today. And if you don't want to do that, you can just download the session. There's a link below to it, and it will also come with the patch. To begin this Synth Secrets, open up whatever synth you're using. We're using Hive 2, and we're going to start with the modulation. The reason being is quite a few steps that can take place before that, but we're going to work in reverse. If we start with the modulation, it just makes it a bit more palatable because initially it can be quite an annoying sound. Like that. And it might, even the final thing might be an annoying sound to you. I'm sure it's all subjective. So play that, grab your LFO, and let's start with the modulation by modulating the semitones of oscillator 1. Now you won't hear anything until you modulate it, which is down here. That's the strength. So let's just leave it around 3 o'clock for the time being. Now, if you heard what we were trying to achieve in the beginning, you can hear it's too far down the register. And the way to fix that is just change the octave here. So let's change it to 2. Okay, please siren stuff. And then let's increase the semitones there. There you go. Okay, but the first thing I notice is the waveform should be not triangle, but saw down. That's better. And if we put it onto sync, it goes nicely with the song. Let's just take it off solo and hear it in context. Let's pull the rate down. Increase the strength. Okay, so now we've got it there. We just want to tweak some of the settings. Let's pull down the sustain on the amp 1. Let's increase the release. And we also want to get this filter sounding better. So let's pull down the cutoff and increase the resonance. And you can hear it's lost, but that's because it's not enough on the modulation envelope. So let's increase the modulation envelope. And let's increase the decay, pull down the sustain, increase the release. So that's the first part of it. You can see why, if we didn't have this working in the first place, it's just lots of different steps that you wouldn't really be able to tell what's going on. Okay, that's the first part. Now let's move over to the sub 2 over here. And we want to route this sub 2 through the filter tune. So click there. You can hear we've got the pulse waveform. Change it from pulse to white. It's pretty loud. So we're going to pull the volume down. And again, at the end of this, you can go back and change these settings if you like. So let's pull that down. And let's pull the cutoff down. Let's also change the filter to a bandpass as well. Now the same thing, we want to increase the modulation envelope here. We want to crank the decay right up. Pull the sustain down. Just leave a tiny bit of release. You can probably pull the sustain all the way down. Bring the volume down as well. Again, that's just to taste. Let's definitely crank some resonance. Now that we have this sound, we want to route it from the LFO2 to the rate of LFO1. And you hear how that sounds. Don't forget to dial in some strength. You can hear how it's changed the overall feel. So we want to emulate that with the saw down over here as well. But it's all happening too fast. So we need to work on the time rate here. Sorry, the time base. Let's change it to 8.1. And let's increase the rate there. Now you can hear it working the first 4 bars of our intro. not bad. So now you can mess with the cutoff, resonance, and volume to get a mix that you prefer. Maybe change the cutoff a little bit. Tweak the release, bring it down. Let's whack this up. Decay. Let's change the strength of these. What you can also do with the LFO2 or the LFO1, but we're going to use the LFO2, is you can assign it to the pan. And if you go to the left, you can hear how it just now moves across. Just a nice sort of movement in your stereo field. Bit of ear candy. Now that's more or less it. Now what we would suggest at this point is to, work with it yourself. You might want to change the rates of these LFO modulations. You might want to change the sounds, the type of waveform, with different effects. They all have different things, but we're going to keep back to what we were trying to achieve in the first place. So now let's put some effects on it, some distortion. Let's add in some delay, but we want it to be ahead of reverb. You can just click and drag it up. Turn it on. Let's bring the diffuse down. Some mix, a bit more feedback. Let's pull off some of those settings. Now let's get stereo, of course. Make that 1/8 on both sides. Bit of reverb. Let's not wash it out too much. Pull that down. Increase the tone. Increase the mix. Decay. Maybe a bit heavy. And let's add in some compression. Let's see how it sounds. Not too bad. Now you could do lots of different things at the drop there. You could automate the delay feedback. You could automate the reverb mix or the size just to sort of carry it over. Or you could have a separate delay plugin that you automate in. But more or less, the sound that we're going for is that sound. That's where we got to. So it's a couple of LFOs, some more LFO modulation on the pan, and just tweaking the settings. And at this point, like I said, just keep tweaking the settings. You could even send your LFO to there. Let's see how that sounds. Something like that. Just right click to remove it. Just add in a bit more feedback on that delay. There you go. It's a bit more transition. See what it sounds like on dirty. There you go. Lots of different things that you can do. And making those sort of laser effects, of course, there's a million sample packs, but it's really not that difficult. And once you've made it, then you can control it better with the track that you're doing. Now, we just use a bunch of sample loops for this purposes, but you could make two of these in one track, and they could be doing ever so slightly different things at different rates. So you can then blend them in and meet them at the transition, things like that. We hope you've enjoyed watching this Synth Secrets. Thanks again for coming by. If there's any sounds, effects, remakes that you would like us to make, just drop us a comment, and we really appreciate the support, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.